Hello everybody, my name is Hunter Hero and welcome to my Mutant Spright deck profile for December 2022 leading into January 2023. This deck is lots of fun and one of the most unique takes I've seen on Spright, and it includes one of the decks, a deck that I have had in the backlog for a while. And this deck is actually really powerful and can do some really crazy stuff, especially because you don't lose as hard as playing into stuff like Dimension Shifter because you have ways to recur that. Your engines kind of play well with each other for the most part. You don't really break on a whole lot of stuff. So, yeah, enough of the rambling. Let's just get into it. Starting with the main deck, we have three of the best card in the deck, Mutant. We're gonna go over all the baby mutants together. So you're playing three Mutant, three MO5, and three ST46. What these cards do, so they each have the effect to tag into a big mutant by banishing a card from your hand or field, except for Mutant, who does it also from deck, and then depending on the type of monster determines on what card you summon. So they all specify the big mutants. So if you banish a monster, you get Mutant Beast. If you banish a spell, you get Mutant Mist. And if you banish a trap, you get Mutant Arsenal. So just tailor your experience to determine what you need to play into and what each of them do. We'll be talking about those in just a second. And then they each have their own effects. Mutant's a free extender who summons himself if you control another mutant. MO5 searches for a monster, and ST searches for your spell traps. They are all E-tele targets, which is super sick. MO5 is also a level 2, and Mutant can do his tribute and banish thing from the deck. So he tributes himself from the field, and then you banish a card from your deck. But it has to specifically be a mutant card. So there have been a couple of times where you'll run out of gas, doing that sort of stuff. For the big mutants, we are on 2 Beast, 1 Mist, and 1 Arsenal. Beast is a spell, like actual spell negate. Mist is kind of weird. If your opponent activates which one is this one? Oh, yeah. So, when your opponent activates a trap card while you have Mutant Mist, you banish a card out, you group in the draw 2 card, so it just turns all your cards into a lure. This card doesn't matter too much. It also can't be targeted with spell effects. This one can't be targeted with monsters, and this one can't be targeted with traps. If your opponent activates a monster effect, this Arsenal banishes a card by banishing a card from your hand or field, and then Beast negates spells by banishing a card from your hand or field. Yeah, but that's it for our Mutant package. Those cards are really good, and they're super recursive, so you don't need to play anymore. We are on our Spright package, which is just 3 blue, 3 jet, 1 carrot, and 1 red. These are the most simplistic monsters, back row, and then tailored negates. Can't get much more simple than that. Now, while it is very basic and rather vanilla, we were on 3 copies of Swap Frog. But that is also because not only does this make a recurable Omni in Totally Awesome, but this card actually has a very unique synergy in this deck, is that it's summoning condition by pitching a water. Any mutants that are in your hand are all waters, which means that he can dump them from your hand and load up your graveyard for you. Especially if you draw multiples and him, it's super free. And then you just set up for usual Totally Awesome lines. You can actually turn a swap pitching a guy and then normaling MO5 into MO5 summoning mutant, and then turning those into elf to summon back the swap. It's really good. And then the last monster is Hoppier Squadron. Mutant, Arsenal, Beast, and Mist are all level 8s, so you can actually tailor these into one of the cards in our extra deck, which I will provide alternatives to when we get there. But it's fine. It's a one of. Really wouldn't play more than that. You could also just cut it if you don't like synchro monsters. So, for our spell cards, we're on 3 Spright Starter and 3 Emergency Teleport. These cards might as well just say the same thing. This one's only for sprites, this one's only for the mutants, but having just as much immediate access to your deck as you can humanly get is just fantastic. Also, the baits out interaction, which is also really nice. But yeah. And then 2 Mutant Evolution Lab. This card's actually freaking crazy. On activation, you summon a mutant from your hand or banish pile that's level 4 or lower, so you summon just all the baby mutants. And then all your mutants gain 100 for each different mutant card with that's banished, and then you can just reveal a mutant in your grip, and then put the monster back on the bottom of your deck and draw a fresh card. That little bit of recursion is like the best way to get rid of the big boys out of your hand, unless you need them there for like to keep a negate live or something, or if you're setting up the next card will be showing. But it would also help tailor into like combo pieces if you drew it, or you can search it off of ST if you already have their traps. So speaking of, moving on to the traps, we were on 2 copies of Mutant Cry and 1 copy of Mutant Clash. Cry is your poly. You shuffle the materials, so it's like Thunder Dragon Fusion. You shuffle the materials from your face up, banished, graveyard, or field back into your deck, which is super duper sick. And then Clash is like really weird select. So you when you activate this card, you target a monster on the field, banish a guy from your graveyard, and then negate its effects even if this card leaves the field. And then if your level 8 or higher mutant kills a thing, you just draw a card. You're normally banishing this to summon Arsenal, but it's still like a really cheeky setup. And then you're on 1 double cross. It's just DD Crow. And then for the last 3 cards in your main deck, you're on 3 copies of Infinite Permanence. You can use this to summon Arsenal. It's one of the better hand traps to play just because you already are playing a bunch of monsters. So having just more access to your other cards in your deck is always better. And its negate isn't the worst. So moving on to the extra deck. We are on 2 Mutant Synthesis and 1 Mutant Ultimus. So... This card is really weird. This card's weird, this card's crazy, and they're both very, very good. So, what this Synthesis requires 2 mutant monsters with different types. So all the little guys are water, but the big guys aren't. So, Synthesis is when your opponent activates a card or effect, you quick effect can make it unaffected to the same type of cards. So if your opponent goes effect failure, you can just chain this to make it unaffected, which is super cool. And then when it dies, it floats into 1 banished mutant card. Also on summon, it pops something, which is actually super relevant. And then Mutant Ultimus, it requires 3 level 8 or higher mutants. This is one of them you could use, but when a card or effect is activated, you can just... he's like a better Makaba. You just banish a card, and then he just negates it and banishes it. And then if he's outed, you target up to 3 banished mutant cards, 1 of each of spell, trap, and monster, and then you add them all back to your hand, which is crazy recursion for a pause monster like this, especially if he's negated 1 or 2 cards, meaning that he'll go +1 if he dies. Meaning that people are less incentivized to kill him and try to out him through other means, which is super sick. Moving on to the only 2 synchros, we are on 1 Herald of the Arclight and 1 Baron. I didn't make these like at all this last tournament I played, but the utility is there. You could obviously just like play more like Link and Exceeds monsters in these card slots if you don't want to play the Hoppier Squadron or don't want to shell out for Baron. But either way, they're cheeky. And then we have our Exceeds. We're on 1 Gigantic Spright, 1 Totally Awesome. This should be Jin Buster. I played Mannequin Cat. This should be Jin Buster. Downard and Zeus. All these cards were crazy. Mannequin Cat has some funny interactions in the current format, but I would 100% play Jin Buster. The amount of times you can make a monster negate that burns your opponent comes up to a nauseating amount of times that I should have just had the Jin Buster. And then the rest of these cards are super, super explainable. So we're not going to dwell too long on those. And then our Link monsters, we are on Elf and IP for our Link 2s. And then we're on Unicorn as our only Link 3. And then Appaloosa and Access Code as our Link 4s. Outside of the Elf, I didn't really make any of these. I did have a line that could get into all of these. My suggestion would be is just play Underworld Goddess. You're actually very good at spamming the board. So having Underworld Goddess over the Appaloosa would just be better. You're already negating enough stuff anyways. I don't really think you need her. But yeah, this was the list I saw the most success with. There are changes I would suggest, like you could not play access code, obviously, if he's still a little outside your budget range. And again, I'm playing Spright, so. But like for like alternatives, you could just cut Baron and Herald for the second Gigantic and Alf if you really felt that way, or Jin Buster and another like Exceeds or Link 2. Or another boss finisher, Underworld or stuff, just to cut these both if you don't want to play the Hoppier Squadron, and then just play Called By in the main deck slot. If you don't want to play these, again, there's just more alternatives. Just do whatever makes you feel comfortable. This deck is the one upside of this deck is that you have the versatility to play very weirdly around your opponent. And that's what gives this deck its strength, is that they'll know what the Spright cards do, but nobody's read a Mutant card. And these cards are crazy. The fact that your entire core engine, like, basically surges into itself and is all e-tellyable, which you're running as many copies of that as you can fit in here, is absolutely crazy. And and also mutants aren't very expensive. There's a control variant that I will be playtesting and probably throwing up on the channel within the next month or so for mutant control if it does well. So look forward to that if I see any form of success with it. But yeah, other than that, I just want to hear your thoughts, recommendations, stuff like that. Just just keep doing what you guys are doing. I've been loving, even seeing a little bit of surges of attention. This is just my end of the video preamble. You can go watch something else now. But we thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for the support. Leave a comment if you feel like it, or don't. I don't control your life. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful night.